Hello to all my story lovers. Welcome back in Storytime channel. I'm Pallavi reading interesting storybooks for you. Today I'm reading Wise and Otherwise written by the great Sudha Murty. Today chapter number 18. Once upon a time life was simple. Let's go through it. I was born and brought up in a village in northern Karnataka. Things were very simple in those days. If you didn't like a person, you could just tell him to his face why you were upset with him. If somebody helped you, you could show your gratitude without any reservation. If somebody did wrong, we asked for justice. There was no hide and seek when it came to feelings. Maybe it was not civilized or polished behavior, but it was definitely a straightforward society and a simple life. I do not know how societies in villages function today. In my childhood, village societies functioned smoothly and fairly. I, I still remember vividly the day our cow was lost. We came to know that it was tied up in Gopal's cowshed. Immediately, he was called by the elders of the panchayat. Gopal owned a piece of land where he used to grow vegetables. Selling them on market day was his only source of income. Our cow had run away and gone into Gopal's garden where it had eaten up all the fresh vegetables. Naturally, Gopal was very upset and had tied up the cow. We felt genuinely sorry and offered to compensate Gopal's loss. He agreed immediately and released the cow. No legal code was referred to and no lawyer was called. The panchayat made the decision, calculated the loss, and solved the problem amicably. There were no ill feelings between the parties concerned. I remember another incident in our neighbor's family. A girl was having problems with her mother in law. Mothers in law harassing daughters in law is an age old problem in all communities, irrespective of language or culture. An old Chinese proverb says, "Is it ever possible for a mouse and a cat to be friends?" There are, of course, exceptions, but these only prove the general rule. The young daughter in law from our neighbor's house used to come to the village pond to fetch water. She was hardly 20 years old, delicate and sensitive. At the pond, she would usually be alone and she would sit on the steps and cry. Evidently, she was going through a rough time at home. My old grandmother saw the girl crying. She understood the problem. Immediately, she went to the neighbor's house, called the mother in law outside, and told her, "Don't be harsh to your daughter in law. Please remember that your daughter is also a daughter in law in another house. I have seen you as a young bride. There is always a court above, and you have to answer for all your deeds." My grandmother never felt that it was none of her business to get involved in somebody else's family matter. For her, injustice to a lonely young girl was more than a personal matter. After some time, our neighbor mended her ways. More importantly, she never held a grudge against my grandmother. She knew, as the people of that generation always did, that it was important to listen to one's elders. A sense of fairness and respect for elders were fundamental values in those times. common sense regained. Rules and legalities were secondary to plain and simple common sense. My father passed away recently. There was a cooking gas connection in his name. I thought it would be illegal to keep the connection after his death. So I submitted an application for transferring the connection to my name along with his death certificate and my ration card. One day I was called to the gas agency. Your application is incomplete, the manager told me. Though your father has left a will stating that you should inherit his gas connection, there is no legal document on paper in which your brothers and sister tell us that they will not claim this gas. In the absence of that document, it is illegal to transfer the connection to your name. I told him that my sister and brother were American citizens living abroad and that they were not interested in this gas connection. But he was an official with official mind. Common sense was of no value to him. Rules alone matter. He said you should get a notary certificate from America regarding this connection. I was taken aback by the sudden complication in what I had thought would be a simple procedure in light of my father's will. When I mentioned this, the manager turned even more uncooperative. Madam, nobody is above the law. So, what if they are American citizens? They must follow the rules. I don't want to get into any problems for this letter. It is difficult to get notary authorization in America for such a small thing. You have to take half day leave for this kind of work. Of course, the managers didn't accept any of my arguments. I left the gas office dejected. After a month, when I wanted to refill the gas, the manager stuck to his rule book. Your father is no more. You cannot take a cylinder in his name. It struck me that if I had not informed him about my father's death, things would have been simpler. Many of us try to do what is lawful and proper only to realize that our system is not made for such behavior. There is a woman working as a sweeper on my road whom I have known for a long time. The other day I saw her crying. I felt bad for her. The reason for her unhappiness was her husband, who often got drunk and beat her. I could not resist the urge to go and advise her husband. Perhaps the influence of my grandmother was working on me. My neighbor saw her crying too, but did not bother about it or care to talk to her husband. Maybe they were wiser. For when I talked to her husband, he turned around and said, Madam, it is none of your business to interfere in our personal life. This is matter between a husband and wife. If I cause any problems, then my wife can go to a lawyer. She need not come to know. I did not know how to respond. When he talked about a law, I wondered what law meant to us. Laws are made to create a strong society that will protect the common people. But when laws become difficult to follow, their very purpose is lost. When they are interpreted narrowly by overzealous officials, their purpose is lost too. What can ordinary people do about this? We have to deal with a range of ordinary problems, from gas connection to drunken husbands. Can some learned lawyers suggest solution to these day to day problems? Can you tell me the solution? Then please tell me in the comment box. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.